Lin Moyu is sure that no space formation is used here. Just used some shielding formations to hide the trading center. This place really covers a huge area. Lin Moyu walked along the garden path and walked for at least tens of kilometers, but he was still far from the end. On both sides of the trail, every 10 steps or so, you can see a small vendor. There is no crowding, and the stall owners never yell. All of them close their eyes and rest their minds, as if you like to buy or not. It is said to be a trail, but it is actually very wide, and it is not a problem to walk a dozen people. Along the way, Lin Moyu found that he couldn't understand most of the items sold here. However, no matter whether it is the material or the magic weapon, the elixir, there is an extraordinary atmosphere. At least it is a thing of the real gods, and many of them are good things of the gods. Lin Moyu gradually learned the rules here. To trade here, you don't need to ask the stall owner what it is. Either you can understand it yourself, or you can hand it over to the detection technique. If you fancy something you like, ask for the price directly. The stall owner will quote a price, buy it if it is suitable, and leave if it is not suitable. There is no bargaining. Therefore, the transactions here have become very quiet, even exuding an elegant atmosphere, unlike the trading centers I have seen before, which always have the atmosphere of a market. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry. He stopped and walked, and saw a lot of novel things along the way, and he kept using the detection technique to check, which can be regarded as broadening his horizons. But so far, I haven't seen what I need. I have the Battle King Tower and the soul-slaying sword with me, so it seems that my demand for magic weapons is not very high. After walking for hundreds of kilometers, Lin Moyu finally saw the trading desk. The appearance of the trading desk indicated that he had arrived at the real trading center. There is a huge lake here, and trading desks stand along the shore of the big lake. In the middle of the lake, there is a row of houses, forming a circle. Lin Moyu knew that there was a trading room. When the number of trading points reaches a certain level, it will be transferred to the trading room for trading. If you have more than 1,000 points on a lower planet, you need to go to the trading room. Medium planets have increased to 10,000 points. Now on a high-level planet, Lin Moyu estimates that at least 100,000 points are required to go to the trading room. Thinking about the orb of law on my body, and the things I got from Lu Hong, the transaction volume can exceed 1 million points, so I must go to the trading room. Lin Moyu chose a trading desk at random, and after activating it, he directly put the saber he got from Lu Hong into it. The trading desk has a built-in space array. No matter how big something is put in, it will shrink so that the trading desk can accommodate it. The array rotates slowly, flickering with shimmering light, constantly beating, flickering and flickering. Apparently the sword is being identified. A minute later, the Ridao information popped up. The lower-class magic weapon of the God King realm, the Broken Star War Knife, is worth 200,000 points. Is it for sale? I didn't expect this saber to be so valuable. Thinking about it, it is true. After all, it is a magic weapon of the God King realm. Even if it is only an inferior magic weapon, its value is not low. It was useless to keep this saber by myself, so I immediately chose to sell it. Immediately, a dim light lit up on the trading desk, and a small teleportation array appeared under Lin Moyu's feet. Lin Moyu didn't resist and let the teleportation array send him away. In the next second, I found myself in an antique room. Lin Moyu knew that this was the house in the center of the lake that he saw by the lake. It is also the trading room in the trading center. In the trading room, the fragrance of tea was wafting, and a beautiful woman with an elegant temperament was sitting upright behind the tea table. In her hand, there is a rotating disc, which is the trading disc used for trading. Lin Moyu sat down naturally, looking across the room. The overall layout of the trading room is no different from that of the lower galaxies. It's just that the materials used are more superior, and they are all high-grade materials that have been refined and have extraordinary value. Even from these materials, you can feel the breath of several laws. If you can live here for a long time, you will feel much faster. Senior, do you want to sell this star-breaking sword? The trader has an excellent temperament, and the voice is gentle and pleasant, which makes people never tire of listening to it. No matter how angry people are, they can calm down here. The trader's name is Lu Lan, and her cultivation is only the 9th level of Super God. The people who can come here are basically her seniors. Lin Moyu picked up the teacup and took a sip slowly. It's not just the sword, there are other things too. Lu Lan said softly, Senior, you can take it out together, evaluate it together, and trade at the same time. With a wave of Lin Moyu's hand, a large net appeared on the tea table. The big net exudes the breath of a true god, and it is also a weapon of war obtained by Lu Hong. After some appraisal, Lulan said, "This is a top-notch magic weapon in the true god realm, and its value is around 50,000 points." Lin Moyu took out some things again at this time, and these things were also obtained from Chuanhong. After Lu Hong's death, his storage ring became Lin Moyu's trophy, and the contents inside also belonged to Lin Moyu. Lu Hong's net worth is not considered rich, and he doesn't have a lot of things. This time they are all for sale. Zero looking for flowers. Even the storage ring, Lin Moyu doesn't want it. Dead things are unlucky. Adding all the zeros and zeros together, you can sell 400,000 points. It can be regarded as a small gain. Compared with doing tasks, the degree of gaining points is much faster. As the so-called golden belt of murder and arson, there are many cultivators of the human race. One of the purposes of going to the battlefield is to kill aliens and grab things. Items of other races can also be sold for points, which is a good way to make money for those who are short of money. It is indeed easy to make a fortune, but it is also very dangerous. Lu Lan was very patient from the beginning to the end, appraising the things Lin Moyu brought out. At the same time, she did not forget to add tea and water for Lin Moyu. "Senior, these things look like things from our human race." Lu Lan spoke softly, seemingly casually mentioning it, and did not ask for any answer from Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. "Isn't it your rule not to ask where the item came from?" Lu Lan covered her mouth and smiled coquettishly. "It seems that Senior knows us very well. I have done a few transactions and know a thing or two." Lin Moyu chuckled, but still didn't answer Lu Lan's question, and Lu Lan didn't ask any more questions. She put away all the things, and completed the transaction in a blink of an eye. "The transaction is completed, seniors can check it out, the score should have arrived." Lin Moyu checked, and the 400,000 points had indeed arrived in his account. Lin Moyu took a sip of tea. "Then let's start the second transaction." Lu Lan's eyes lit up. "Senior, do you have anything else to sell?" The larger the transaction amount, the more benefits to her. 400,000 points is not a small amount for most true gods. But there are a lot of god kings here to do business, so 400,000 points can only be regarded as average. Lin Moyu took out a Dharma orb. "Estimate the price." Lu Lan made a valuation according to the rules. "The pearl of the true god realm, our trading center has a public price, 10 points per piece." There was a little disappointment in her eyes, and she thought that Lin Moyu had some big business, but it turned out to be just the pearl of law. Even if there are 10,000 law beads with 10 points, they are only 100,000 points. But Lu Lan hid it well, did not show any impatience, and continued to pour tea for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu also knows that 10 points is the public price. He already knew it before. Lin Moyu put his fingers lightly on the trading board, and stuffed all the pearls of the law into the pill. Lu Lan could no longer hide the shock in her heart. Her beautiful eyes widened, her hands were constantly trembling. Lin Moyu took out too many law beads, and the trading board has already sold out the prepared quantity, a total of 250,000 law beads. A piece of 10 points, a full 2.5 million points. For Lu Lan, this is a really big deal. Lu Lan couldn't recover for a long time. She said in a daze, "Why are there so many?" Lin Moyu looked at her and said softly, "Need me to tell you, how did you get it?" Lu Lan trembled violently, and quickly shook her head. "No need, senior, you don't need to say anything, we only care about the transaction without asking the source." Lin Moyu tapped his fingers on the table a few times. "I thought you were interested to know." Lu Lan realized that she had said something wrong before, so she immediately turned to Lin Moyu to accompany her. "It was Lu Lan who said something wrong before, please don't blame me, senior." Lin Moyu looked at her, and smiled after a while. "Is fine, you can continue." Lu Lan breathed a sigh of relief. Just for a moment, Lin Moyu seemed a little scary. Even though he still looks as moist as jade, like a gentleman, Lu Lan just thinks that Lin Moyu is a bit scary. That invisible breath made her a little breathless. Now with Lin Moyu's words, this depression disappeared. Lu Lan secretly warned herself that she would never ask questions that should not be asked in the future, and she must manage her mouth well. Lu Lan completed the transaction as quickly as possible, showing the most beautiful smile possible. "Senior Lin, the transaction has been completed. Do you have any other transactions?" Lin Moyu nodded. "Also, I just don't know if you can make the decision." Lu Lan took a deep breath. "As long as it doesn't exceed 5 million points, I can make the decision. But if Senior needs it, Lu Lan can also find a steward to serve Senior." Lin Moyu shook his head. Don't worry, you can estimate the price for it. Lin Moyu took the orb of law from the strange genie. The huge pearl of law made Liu Lan's breathing become short of breath. Senior, this is. Liu Lan had never seen this thing before, so she was a little uncertain. Lin Moyu said, the pearl of law is just a bit bigger, please estimate the price. Liu Lan used the detection technique, and the answer given by the detection technique was also just the pearl of law. But the pearl of law in front of him. It is obvious that the pearl of ordinary law cannot be used for valuation. Detection techniques are not omnipotent, and in many cases, accurate information cannot be obtained. Liu Lan was still undecided, unable to give an accurate price. She said, Senior, why don't I ask the steward to estimate the price? Now she is more polite to Lin Moyu. As the trading room of the trading center, I have met many people. She knows that some people can't just look at the superficial cultivation, and Lin Moyu should be such a character. Lin Moyu nodded, yes. Liu Lan immediately sent a message, and only a few seconds later, the door of the trading room was opened, and a person walked in. A woman came in, and Lin Moyu saw her message. Her name is Yuju, the 9th rank of the true god. As the name suggests, Yuju people have the following skin and a figure like bamboo. The appearance is extremely beautiful, even better than a few towers compared to willow orchid. Of all the women Lin Moyu has met, there are only a few who can compare. My sister, wife, Gu Qingxuan and Lilian. Yuju exuded a mature charm, walked into the trading room, and slightly saluted Lin Moyu. Yuju has met Mr. She called Mr. Lin Moyu, which is a respectful title. After all, Lin Moyu's cultivation is not as good as hers, but he is also a customer of the trading center. Calling him junior may make people feel uncomfortable. Therefore, it is most appropriate to call Mr. Lin Moyu didn't pay much attention to the title, and said bluntly, I have seen Senior Yuju, and I ask Senior Yuju to evaluate it. Only from Lin Moyu's spoken words, Yuju felt that Lin Moyu was not the kind of person who dragged his feet. The more direct the conversation with this kind of person, the better. Immediately, she stopped being courteous and dawdled, and looked directly at the orb of law, and at the same time popped up the detection technique. Yuju's knowledge is far from that of Liu Lan, and she can see the extraordinariness of the orb of law at a glance, and at the same time said, this orb of law comes from a strange giant spirit. She explained the origin of the pearl of law in one mouthful, proving that she is well informed. Then she closed her eyes, felt it carefully, and continued to speak. This strange giant spirit has mutated itself, evolving from a strange creature to a strange giant spirit. It has existed for more than 100,000 years, and it is only one step away from the God King realm. Such a law bead is very useful for refining weapons. With some high-quality materials, it can be used to refine the magic weapon of the God King realm. However, having said that, she paused slightly, and glanced at Lin Moyu without any trace. Seeing that Lin Moyu didn't respond, Yuju felt conflicted about whether she should say the next thing or not. From the moment she entered the trading room and saw Lin Moyu, she felt that Lin Moyu was unusual. She has seen too many people, and she is very accurate in seeing people. Although Lin Moyu's performance is only the first level of True God, she believes that Lin Moyu's real strength is definitely more than the first level of True God. Lin Moyu should be a genius who can leapfrog challenges. But she decided what was in her heart and told the truth. However, for such a pearl of law, it would be a waste of money to refine it. Its greatest use is to make laws and stars, or to breed the spirit of magic weapons. So, according to the valuation I gave, this orb of law is worth 5 million points. As soon as these words came out, Sui Lan immediately gasped. This huge law bead is actually so valuable. That's 5 million points. For many practitioners of the true God realm, 5 million points is simply an astronomical figure. Even some god kings can't get 5 million points. As for Lin Moyu, it was just a transaction, and he got a total of 7.9 million points before and after. Lin Moyu has known for a long time that this orb of law is of extraordinary value, and it is normal for it to be worth 5 million points. Lin Moyu nodded, yes, let's trade at this price. Sir, be happy. Yuju chuckled, immediately put away the law bead, and quickly completed the transaction. She smiled and said to Lin Moyu, Mr.'s total transaction value in the trading center has exceeded 5 million points. As a VIP in our trading center, we will open some hidden trading items to you. Sir, if you are interested, you can go to the trading desk to check it later. At the same time, we also provide door-to-door service for the husband. If the husband likes something. 0. We will directly send someone to deliver the item to the husband. Hidden items. Lin Moyu laughed secretly. There is such a rule. Indeed, there are still too few things I know. It may be uncertain that the transaction amount will increase in the future, and even greater benefits will be obtained. The trading center is also a small world, just like the authority level in the human race, it also comes step by step. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry. After the transaction was completed and the points had been credited, he used the teleportation array in the trading room to leave. After he left, Yuju said to Lu Lan, "You did a good job this time." Lu Lan giggled, "Thank you Sister Yuju for your compliment." Yuju frowned, as if thinking of something. Why do I feel that the name Lin Moyu is so familiar? Lu Lan also felt a little familiar, thought for a while, and suddenly exclaimed, "The new number 1 on the Chanlong list." In the past few days, the most famous person in the entire Suzaku starfield is naturally Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was first taken away by the criminal investigation team, and his reputation spread throughout the Suzaku starfield. Because of the existence of Renwang network, the speed of information dissemination is extremely fast. In less than half a day, everyone knew about Lin Moyu and Gu Qingxuan. Being taken away by the criminal police team, what good things can happen, just think about it. But soon, the potential list suddenly changed. Lin Moyu almost directly descended to the top of the potential list with the momentum of airborne. Among many geniuses, there is another name for the potential list, the talent list. Those who can be on the potential list are all geniuses. And the ranking among them is the ranking of genius level. Lin Moyu's sudden appearance on the potential list surprised many people. There are a total of 100 people on the potential list, and Lin Moyu ranked first, so the original 100th place can only leave the list sadly. Most importantly, Lin Moyu's ability to be on the potential list shows that he is safe and sound. It was just a misunderstanding that the criminal police team took him away. Then someone saw the names of Lin Moyu and Gu Qingxuan on the contribution list. The two ranked 8th and 5th respectively, one behind the other. This further shows that not only did the two have no faults, but they also made merit. The contribution list is not something that anyone can be on. Only by doing something that contributes to the human race can it be possible to be on the contribution list. At this time, new news came out, saying that Lin Moyu's contribution came from the task of cleaning up 100,182 non-living galaxies. Some people say that Lin Moyu has completed the thorough cleaning of the galaxy and set up the Fosun formation. Many people immediately rushed to the Suzaku 100182 non-living galaxy to check, and found that it was indeed the case. The galaxy, which was originally full of chaotic obsessions and strange creatures, has become calm and peaceful now. The galaxy has entered the process of self-repair, and it only needs enough time to become a galaxy suitable for the survival of living beings. Although the human race has many living galaxies, it is always good to have one more galaxy. Otherwise, the human race will not release these tasks for everyone to do. Some people will say, wouldn't it be faster and better for the gods to restore the galaxy? Having said that, it would be difficult for the young people of the human race to experience the suffering caused by the war. The high-level people of the human race want to let the young people see what the human race has experienced in the past. What do the galaxies that were once intact, beautiful and prosperous look like now? This is an incentive and a stimulus. It's just that these tasks are so difficult that ordinary people can't complete them at all. Some people even feel that it is impossible for anyone to complete it. Now Lin Moyu has done it. He told everyone very clearly that the task can be done, and the reward can also be obtained. Lin Moyu's reputation also grew rapidly between doubts and acknowledgements, expanding to the entire Suzaku starfield. In the number 10-star trading center, Lin Moyu has been standing in front of the trading desk for a long time. After he left the trading room, he returned to the trading desk to look for the items he needed. Since he chose to go to the battlefield, Lin Moyu's first thought was how to save his life. What he thought about was how to save his life under the hands of the God King. It's not a rookie God King like Lu Hong, at least he has to survive under the God Kings like Black Eagle King and Bat King. Although there is the Tower of the King of War, the probability of life saving is greatly increased. But the God King also has means to deal with the Battle King Tower, like Lu Hong's big net magic weapon, which almost made him suffer. So Lin Moyu decided to use offense as defense. He wants to see if he can buy some corpses from the God King realm, even the wreckage is fine. As long as he can buy a corpse of a 9th level God King realm, then he really doesn't have to be afraid of anyone in the God King realm. But the remains of the corpses of the God King realm are not easy to obtain. Lin Moyu searched for a long time but couldn't find it. In the list of items he can see, there are some items that were originally hidden. The rarity of these items is higher, among which Lin Moyu saw items from the God King realm. For example, a Burning Heaven sword contains the lore of Burning Heaven Flame, which belongs to the highest magic weapon in the God King realm, and the price is 6 million points. The price is high enough, but unfortunately it is useless to Lin Moyu, otherwise Lin Moyu would not be stingy to buy it. Points are just numbers, and Lin Moyu has no intention of saving them. The remains of the corpses in the God King realm could not be found, only the remains of some alien races in the real God realm, which could be used to make alchemy and tools. Lin Moyu was not very interested. After watching it for a long time, Lin Moyu now has a huge amount of 8.77 million points, but in the end he couldn't spend a single point. There is no trading center in Galaxy 10, I wonder if there will be trading centers in other galaxies. As far as he knows, different galaxies not only have different missions, but also the items in the trading center will vary. Lin Moyu thought that he could go to several other high-level galaxies to see, and maybe he could gain something. If it doesn't work, then you can only go to the stalls and look for it carefully. If he still couldn't find it, Lin Moyu thought of another way, that is to ask Zhu Qian with the cheek. Anyway, I have already made up my mind that I must get a life-saving talisman before I can go to the battlefield. The battlefield is too dangerous, while allowing oneself to grow and complete tasks, life-saving is always the first priority. When life is gone, nothing is left. Lin Moyu wandered around the trading center all day, looked at every stall carefully, but still couldn't find the corpse of God King realm. With a hint of disappointment, Lin Moyu left the trading center. Outside the trading center, there are still crowds of people, and there are many people coming and going. Lin Moyu looked over and saw that the old man was no longer there, and his whereabouts were unknown. For some reason, Lin Moyu felt that the old man seemed to be waiting for him specially. This feeling for no reason made him feel strange. Perhaps, I'm thinking too much. Lin Moyu shook his head slightly and chuckled secretly. Gradually, Lin Moyu discovered some new problems. Many people were looking at me, their eyes focused on me, and on the 29th, there was a slight sound in my ears. This is Lin Moyu. Could it be the same name and surname, the first in the potential list, and the first level of true gods? Is it possible? The potential list is not ranked according to the level of cultivation, maybe people have enough potential. However, if you think about it, it's impossible for True God 1 realm to perfectly complete the 100,182 galaxy mission. All kinds of sounds came into his ears, and Lin Moyu felt more and more weird. Why did I become famous all of a sudden, and why so many people knew me? Is it because of potential list? But what's the matter with that mission, and why it seems that everyone knows it? Lin Moyu was a little dazed and very uncomfortable. Lin Moyu. At this moment, there was a sudden shout. Lin Moyu turned his head to look, suddenly showing embarrassment. Not far away, Chu Sheng walked over with arrogance. The aura of the God King realm rolled and moved straight to the sky. The people around him unconsciously took a few steps back to make way for him. Chu Sheng had a fierce look on his face. Those who didn't know it thought he was coming to seek revenge. Lin Moyu saluted Chu Sheng. I have seen Senior Chu. Chu Sheng snorted angrily. Stinky boy, don't think that I can let you off just because you are being polite now. I told you that it's useless to apologize. I'm going to teach you a lesson today and teach you what it means to respect the elderly. Chu Sheng cursed and dragged Lin Moyu away. Lin Moyu smiled helplessly. How could he have forgotten that Chu Sheng and Zhuang Bai were in galaxy number 10? And it was such a coincidence that it happened to be bumped into. Lin Moyu remembered Chu Sheng's appearance of eating people in the Renwang arena. In the end, he was instantly killed twice by himself, and he was about to explode at that time. Now in reality, if he is caught by Chu Sheng, he will definitely be taught a lesson. Lin Moyu actually understood that Chu Sheng didn't have any malicious intentions. He looked fierce, but he was actually not a bad person. Chu Sheng took Lin Moyu and left in the teleportation array. The two came to a quiet mountain forest, and the sound of rushing water could be heard in the distance. The environment here is beautiful, the birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant, and there is a quiet path leading to the depths of the forest. Lin Moyu saw that the flowers and plants on both sides of the path had been deliberately pruned, well arranged and beautifully distributed. In the deepest part of the path, a courtyard can be vaguely seen. This made Lin Moyu think of Beishan Courtyard in the Small World, and the two have similar approaches but similar results. Lin Moyu looked at Chu Sheng strangely. Senior Chu, do you live here? Chu Sheng has a fierce face and a fiery personality, which is incompatible with the current environment. Chu Sheng guessed Lin Moyu's thoughts. His face changed abruptly. Why, it's not like that. Lin Moyu shook his head. I didn't expect Senior Chu's heart to be so soft. You bastard, I would be willing to live in such a ghostly place with nowhere to stay. You have to be careful when you walk, and you are afraid of stepping on the flowers and plants here. Chu Sheng yelled loudly. It seems disdainful. Lin Moyu couldn't help laughing. It seemed that this was in line with Chu Sheng's appearance. Chu fool, your mouth is eating shit again. The voice sounded leisurely, not in a hurry. Lin Moyu knew immediately that it was Zhuang Bai's voice. Chu Sheng snorted. Old Zhuang, Lin Moyu is here. At the end of the path, Zhuang Bai's figure appeared. Lin Moyu immediately saluted Zhuang Bai. I have seen Senior Zhuang. Zhuang Bai's face was as jade-like. With a gentle smile, Lin Xiaoyu, please come into the courtyard and have a glass of water and wine. Chu Sheng groaned. Drink as long as you drink. How can there be so many polite words? We are not from the Qinglong Star region. As he said that he had strode in, he still didn't forget to say, stinky boy, don't try to escape. Lin Moyu smiled and followed. The trail in the forest is not long. Stepping into the forest with one step, a fresh air blows to Lin Moyu's face, making Lin Moyu feel refreshed, and all the boredom and fatigue in his heart are swept away. The dappled light shines through the bushes and falls on the body, which is warm. You can hear the chirping of birds, and you can see birds nesting on the branches of the forest. There is beauty everywhere here, and my heart suddenly becomes quiet. Standing in front of the courtyard, Zhuang Bai was more refined than when he saw him in the arena. A word suddenly popped up in Lin Moyu's mind, scholar. He found that using this reading to describe Zhuangbi was very appropriate. He and Chu Sheng seemed to be two extremes, but it happened that they were best friends. Things in the world are so strange. The layout of the small courtyard is very simple, but very elegant, which is very consistent with Zhuangbi's personality. After passing through the small courtyard, the sound of water is more obvious, and you can see a waterfall not far away. The galloping mountains and waters pouring down from the waterfall are not spectacular, but they have a special flavor. On the stone table behind the courtyard, there are a few simple side dishes and a good wine. Chu Sheng was not polite, and sat down decisively. Zhuang Bai waved. Little friend Lin, please sit down. Chu Sheng shouted, why are you being so polite? You don't have to pay too much attention to drinking, just drink it well. While speaking, he had already poured himself a glass, and drank it on his own. Zhuang Bai smiled wryly. Don't pay attention to him, this guy is just a rough man. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and he took out the wine gourd that Ren Qiang had given him. Senior Chu, this wine is to be used as an accompaniment for my senior. Zhuang Bai shook his head and said, the arena has its own winners and losers, there is no such thing as accompaniment. When Chu Sheng heard that it was wine, he stretched out his hand and took the wine gourd in his hand. That's a private matter between me and him, don't worry about it. Zhuang Bai sighed, you man. Chu Sheng snorted, what's the matter with me? I'm called Happy Enmity, I don't suffer a bit. As he said that, he took a sip with the wine gourd, and let out a long breath. The wine is not bad, although it is a bit weak, but it can still be drunk. For the wine's sake, I will forgive you this time, and let the past go. Of course Lin Moyu knew that Chu Sheng didn't really blame him, he just looked a little fierce. Zhuang Bai said with a smile, Xiaoyu Lin has become famous recently. Speaking of this, Lin Moyu also had a headache. Oh, I don't know what to do. Chu Sheng muttered from the side, it's not easy, you just need to hide your information. Zhuang Bai also smiled and said, this is a good method, and it is extremely simple. You only need to hide the information and others will naturally not know who you are. But be afraid, your appearance has been remembered by many people, and there will be people who will recognize you. Chu Sheng interjected again, it deserves it, whoever makes him the number one in the potential list, if he can become the number one, he will naturally be stared at. Lin Moyu smiled wryly, I didn't think about it either. Quote, it's not your turn to think about what Renwang Network is doing. Even if others think about it, they still can't get on it. Chu Sheng said angrily. Zhuang Bai glared at him, you drink well and don't talk too much. Chu Sheng let out an "oh," and began to drink obediently. These two, Lin Moyu finds it very interesting. Zhuangbai said, Xiao Yulin can also prepare a magic weapon to change his appearance, and add hidden information, so that it will be difficult for others to recognize. Indeed, in this way, it is basically foolproof. Zhuangbai changed the subject, however, actually being recognized is not a bad thing, it might be a good thing. Lin Moyu was slightly taken aback. Please enlighten me, senior. Zhuangbai said, little friend Lin, have you ever heard of the power of faith? Lin Moyu nodded. I heard, one of the fundamental strengths of the human race. Not only has he heard it, but he also has the power of faith. Even in the big world, the power of faith from the small world has never been broken. The power of faith has a wide range of functions, but he still doesn't know how to use it so far. Zhuangbai said, the more famous you are, the more you will gradually form the power of faith. The power of faith has a great effect, especially when you break through the God, Qian Nuos. The power of faith can be pushed to the next level. Bundle. Hearing this, Lin Moyu was slightly taken aback. Senior Zhuang means, let me be high profile, and use this experience of faith. Zhuangbai showed a smile. Almost, the people who have always been among the top in the potential list will use this to gather the power of faith. Borrowing the power of faith can make their cultivation speed faster and make breakthroughs easier in the future. Chu Sheng interjected again, it also needs to be able to condense the power of faith. Less is useless, more trouble, and too much, but harmful. Lin Moyu was slightly taken aback. It's harmful to have too much power of faith. Zhuangbai explained, the power of faith is the power of all living beings. There are too many impurities, so there will be some problems if there are too many. Is there a solution? Since the power of faith can become one of the fundamental forces of the human race, it has both advantages and disadvantages. If there are shortcomings, there will naturally be solutions. Zhuangbai chuckled, there are many solutions. You can purify and refine it yourself, or you can use the dragon's soul crystal from the dragon clan. Zhuangbai chatted with Lin Moyu a lot, and generally told Lin Moyu that the power of faith is very useful and of great use. He should make good use of his status as the number one in the potential list, and gain the power of faith as much as possible. Although the power of faith contains a lot of impurities, it needs to be purified and refined before it can be truly used by oneself. There are many possible solutions. Lin Moyu has 9 colors dragon's soul crystal himself, so impurities are not a problem for Lin Moyu. But when Lin Moyu asked how to use it, Zhuangbai didn't say anything. It's not that I don't want to say it, but I can't say it. Beliefs and the like are like laws, which need to be understood personally, and it is difficult to describe them clearly in words. Lin Moyu understands this. And for using the power of faith, there is still one thing missing. And this thing can only be obtained after level 5 authority. So now for Lin Moyu, he only needs to accumulate and don't have to worry too much about other things. Lin Moyu only had contact with Zhuangbai in the arena, but in fact the two had no deep friendship. But it was strange that the two hit it off right away and became good friends in a blink of an eye. Although they haven't reached the point where they can talk about everything, the relationship is already good. Zhuangbai is a man, gentle and elegant, well-spoken, and has no airs. On the contrary, Zhuangbai admired Lin Moyu's ability to leapfrog. When he asked why Lin Moyu was taken away by the criminal police, Lin Moyu didn't hide anything and told the truth. Lin Moyu 00 directly admitted to killing Lu Hong, which caused Zhuangbai to show a look of shock. At the side, Chu Sheng even spit out a sip of wine far away, staring at Lin Moyu in a daze. Boy Lin, you mean, you used the first rank of the true god to kill the first rank of the god king? Lin Moyu is very humble, he is just the weakest god king, he can't even manifest his soul, and his law field is also very poor. Chu Sheng murmured, but no matter what, that is also a god king. I have heard that the 9th level of the true god fights across the border and kills the king of gods. I have never heard that the first level of the true god can kill the king of the gods. You kid is simply perverted. No, I want to fight you now. If I don't fight now, I'm afraid I won't be able to beat you in the future. If Lin Moyu can maintain the current ability to leapfrog and fight, when Lin Moyu becomes the god king, he may be directly invincible in the god king realm. Zhuangbai said unhappily, drink your bar, don't play tricks here. A person who has lived for thousands of years is still like a child, so he is not ashamed. Chu Sheng took a sip of his wine. For Lin's sake, I don't care about you today. Lin Moyu couldn't help laughing, he had a fart face. This Mengxian was just looking for a step down for himself. In the ring arena, Lin Moyu has already shown strong strength. It can be tied with the 9th level of the true god. But there are always some differences between the arena and the real world. Now the world can use magic weapons, but the arena can't. A good magic weapon can often determine the outcome of the entire battle. He speculates that Lin Moyu may have some very powerful magic weapon, but he will not ask. This is Lin Moyu's privacy, and asking more questions will affect the relationship between the two. Zhuangbai said, "What is Brother Lin going to do next?" Lin Moyu said, "I plan to go to the battlefield and do some battlefield missions." Zhuangbai stared blankly at Lin Moyu. "Are you really determined to go to the battlefield?" "The battlefield is no worse than here, it's very dangerous." Chu Sheng said in a muffled voice, "Dangerous ass, with his strength, as long as he is active on the fringes and doesn't go to other areas to die, he can't die at all. Think about the reaction of a lion to a herd of sheep." Zhuangbai said unhappily, "You think Lin Xiaoyu will be as worthless as you, and you know how to bully those who are weaker than you." Lin Moyu was a little embarrassed, that's what he thought. But even if he is only on the edge of the battlefield, God King will appear occasionally, which is still dangerous. Following Lin Moyu's words, Zhuangbai continued, "It doesn't matter if you go to the battlefield, although the missions on the battlefield are dangerous, but the rewards are rich, which is far from comparable to those missions in the mission center. Besides, doing battlefield tasks can also accumulate contributions, and the ranking of the contribution list is also very important. Many people admire the strong players who are at the top of the contribution list." Regardless of whether it is the potential list or the contribution list, for Lin Moyu, the biggest role at present is to attract the attention of others and gather beliefs. ACDJ, Lin Moyu thought that if he could get the first place in the three lists of potential list, contribution list, and combat power list, he might be able to collect a lot of power of faith. The combat power list evaluates the real combat power. Now ranking first in the combat power list is a person of the 4th rank of God King, named Xiao Lin. Lin Moyu guessed that Xiao Lin also had at least the 7th or even 8th level combat power of a God King. He wants to reach the first place in the combat power list, and the safe point is to let himself reach the 3rd and 9th ranks of God's combat power. But judging from the current situation, that is to say, he has to reach the God King realm. As long as he can reach the God King realm, he is sure to rival the 9th rank of God King. At the same time, one condition must be met, that is, his authority cannot be raised to the 5th level. If he is promoted to the 5th level, he will leave the list of the Vermilion Bird starfield and enter the list of the 4 major starfields of the entire human race. That's not beautiful. Yes, I already have the answer in my heart. It is not appropriate to increase the authority too quickly, and the cultivation base and rights must be improved at the same time. Seeing Lin Moyu's expression, Zhuangbai knew that he had figured it out, and smiled. "You know what to do." Lin Moyu nodded. "Thank you, Senior Zhuang, for your guidance." Zhuangbai said, "Xiao Lin, who is currently number 1 in the combat power list, can actually be promoted to the 5th level authority long ago, just to gather more power of faith, so he has been suppressing his own authority. The more power of faith, the better the road ahead, and the easier it is to be promoted to God. But in the same way, too much power of faith will bring a lot of impurities, which need to be purified." Chu Sheng said, "It is said that that guy obtained a piece of Dragon's Soul Crystal from the Dragon Clan a few years ago, and now he is excited about refining the power of faith." There was a hint of disdain in Chu Sheng's words, as if he looked down on Xiao Lin's actions. Zhuangbai smiled. "Don't pay attention to him, this guy and Xiao Lin are at odds. The two chose different paths. Big Chu's strength cannot be borrowed from the power of faith, so he raised his authority early and left the list. At that time, he and Xiao Lin were evenly matched in combat strength." Chu Sheng snorted, "If I meet Xiao Lin again now, I will give him one hand and beat him to the teeth all over the floor. If it weren't for the two of us leaving the combat power list early, how could he speak up?" Chu Sheng has now reached the 8th rank of God King, and he is indeed capable of beating Xiao Lin to the north. And Zhuangbai is the 9th rank of God King. Apparently, both of them were also on the combat power list back then, and both had the ability to leapfrog the ranks. Lin Moyu said, "I will work hard, but I will not force it deliberately. Senior Zhuang, Senior Chu, I have something to ask. But it doesn't matter," Zhuangbai said. Chu Sheng drank the wine. "If you fart, just let it go, don't be polite." Lin Moyu said, "Where can I get the corpse of the God King? I searched all over the trading center, but I couldn't find it." Zhuangbai was a little curious. "What do you want the corpse of the God King for?" Chu Sheng also asked strangely, "Do you have any special hobbies?" Lin Moyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This junior has a technique that requires the corpse of a strong man as an introduction. The stronger the corpse, the stronger the power of this junior's technique. Zhuangbai understood as soon as he heard it. Lin Moyu planned to use the corpse as a whole card to save his life on the battlefield. It's very dangerous on the battlefield. You really need to make some preparations. I didn't expect you to have such a technique. In the trading center, you can't buy corpses in the God King realm. The corpses in the God King realm are very useful and will not be circulated outside. Lin Moyu was a little disappointed. So that's it. It seems I'm thinking too much. At this time, a group of black shadows flew past, and a broken leg fell heavily on the grass. The broken leg was very fresh, still bleeding, and the strong smell of blood spread immediately. The broken leg was more than 10 meters long, like a hill, pressed to the ground. Lin Moyu felt the aura of the God King realm from the broken leg, and he was not sure exactly how high the God King realm was. But it will definitely not be lower than the 5th level of God King. Zhuangbai gave Chu Sheng a hard look. If you don't fix my yard in a while, I'll break your legs. Obviously Zhuangbai is very concerned about his yard, and his words are full of murderous intent. Chu Sheng was so frightened that he trembled all over, and muttered, if you fix it, you can fix it, whoever is afraid of whom. Then Chu Sheng looked at Lin Moyu. This is a leg of the Black Star Beast. The strength of the Black Star Beast is equivalent to that of the 8th rank God King. I will give it to you. Lin Moyu was startled. Senior, how embarrassing this is. This leg is priceless. If you ask me a price, I don't know if I can afford it. Chu Sheng waved his hand. Get out. This is just my ration. If you exchange the ration for money, I'm not so poor. Zhuangbai also said, take it away. This guy is a foodie. He deliberately killed a few Black Star Beasts some time ago, and he has more. Chu Sheng nodded. It's just a Black Star Beast. I can easily catch it. Zhuangbai joked, I don't know who it is, but was chased by the Black Star Beast King and fled all over the starry sky, and finally escaped back. Exposing people without revealing their faults. Lao Zhuang, you are going too far. Chu Sheng shouted angrily. Lin Moyu put away the Black Star Beast leg with a smile. Thank you, Senior Chu, you will be welcome that night. Chu Sheng waved his hand. You don't need to be polite. When you go to the battlefield, if you are lucky and get good wine, just remember to save some for me. Chu Sheng has 2 hobbies in his life, wine and food. Lin Moyu nodded. The younger generation has made a note. If there is something to gain, it must be sent to the senior. Zhuangbai warned again. On the battlefield, there are all kinds of races, and some races know all kinds of strange magic and secret methods, which are very dangerous. Be careful when you go up. You can go to the trading center and buy some soul-level defense equipment, as well as the Starlight armor that can resist the attack of the law, which can greatly enhance security. Zhuangbai gave a few more instructions and said some things to pay attention to on the battlefield. It was not until late at night that Lin Moyu bid farewell and left. Return to the trading center through the teleportation array. Lin Moyu does have to come to the trading center to buy something. After obtaining the Black Star Beast leg by accident, there is no need for other corpses in the God King realm. Zhuangbai also told him clearly that it is impossible to buy the remains of the God King realm in the trading center, because these things have other uses and will not be circulated in the market. So Lin Moyu's points can be used to buy other things. Lin Moyu had already taken a fancy to a few things before, but he didn't buy them because he needed to save his points. You can buy it now. The thing that Lin Moyu likes is called the Law Spar, which is born naturally from the world. The Law Spar contains the pure power of law. Whether it is used for cultivation or refining, it is a good choice. However, it is not easy to comprehend the law through him. Its effect is far inferior to that of gods such as the Law God Flower. The law crystals are also divided into several grades, ranging from the Super God realm to the God King realm, and at the same time, they must be subdivided into what type of law. First look at the type of rule and which echelon it is. The law spars of the 3rd echelon are the cheapest, and those of the 1st echelon are naturally the most expensive. But the 1st echelon has none at all. What Lin Moyu likes is the true God King realm law spar, among which the 3rd echelon elemental one only needs 100,000 points. If it is the law of the 2nd echelon, the price of the law spar of the same level of realm will directly increase by 10 times. For example, Lin Moyu likes the rule spar that contains the law of fire, the king of the gods, and it is 100,000 points. The crystal of the law of the king, which contains the law of starlight, needs 1 million points. Lin Moyu holds 8.78 million points in his hand. He is a proper rich man, and he doesn't feel bad at all when he spends money. The Law of Fire crystals came directly to 10 pieces, costing 1 million points. Then came the Law of Storm, and the Law of Heavy Water. I bought one each and spent 2 million plots. The Law of Starlight also came, and it took another 1 million points. Lin Moyu found that the number of law spars is not much. After he bought the 2 crystals of the Law of Storm and the Law of Heavy Water, it immediately showed that they were out of stock. Think about it too, with 1 million points, wouldn't it be good to go to the practice field to comprehend it? Why buy law crystals and do such a thankless thing? Unless there is a special purpose, it will be purchased. Unfortunately, no crystal of the Law of Speed of Light was found. Lin Moyu searched here several times, but couldn't find the crystal of the Law of Speed of Light. In the human race, the law of the speed of light can only be regarded as a minority, and very few people understand it. Therefore, it is normal that there is no rule spar to deal with. 8.78 million points, 4 million were used up all at once. The transaction went smoothly, and almost at the same time Lin Moyu paid the points, the corresponding rule spar appeared on the trading desk. Lin Moyu rented a mission room and summoned the elemental lich in the mission room. In the high-level galaxies, even the practice room is larger than the medium-level galaxies and low-level galaxies. There is even a bed inside for people to sleep and rest. But the fee is also expensive, need 10 points a day. After Lin Moyu entered the mission room, he closed the door, and then summoned the elemental lich. One advantage of the mission room is that no matter what happens inside, no breath will leak out. Even if Lin Moyu summoned the elemental lich, the outside world would never know about it. The Lich of the Law of Fire, the Lich of the Law of Storm, the Lich of the Law of Heavy Water, and the Lich of the Law of Starlight, lined up and prostrated respectfully on the ground. They are extremely devout and loyal to Lin Moyu. As long as Lin Moyu gives an order, even if they are to die, they will not hesitate at all. Take out the law spar you just bought, absorb it. The eyes of the 4 elemental liches glow collectively. Although they have no thinking consciousness, they know that the things in front of them are of great benefit to themselves. The 4 elemental liches came over immediately and swallowed the corresponding law spar into their stomachs. Among them, the flame law lich only has the 3rd echelon law. Lin Moyu treated everyone equally, and bought 10 law spars for it, and did not favor one over another. After absorbing the law spar, the 4 elemental liches began to evolve at the same time. Their aura is constantly increasing, and they have already almost reached the level of the 7th order true god. At this time, he took a big step forward and directly reached the level of the peak of the true god. The aura of law has become brighter, and its power has also increased significantly. With their blessings, the combat power of the undead army can be improved to a higher level. Even if he doesn't make a move, the undead army will have no pressure to face the peak of the true god. Although it took 4 million points, Lin Moyu felt it was worth it. Isn't points just for spending? If you don't spend them, what's the difference between them and a bunch of numbers? After giving the elementalic a little boost, Lin Moyu bought a few more things. Lin Moyu bought 10 copies of the teleportation talisman of the God King realm. The teleportation talisman of the God King realm can take him to break through the blockade in an instant and teleport him to a place 1 million kilometers away. And you can control the direction by yourself. This is the best choice for life-saving on the battlefield, and many people will buy a few of them for emergencies. Lin Moyu is also an exception, 50,000 points per ticket, and he bought 10 tickets in one go, spending a total of 500,000. Then I bought 10 more Divine Lightning Talismans of the Divine King realm, and spent another 500,000 points. Each Divine Lightning Talisman is equivalent to a full-strength strike of a 3rd order Divine King. It uses the law of thunder and lightning, although it is the 3rd echelon law, but its power is not weak. It's not that Lin Moyu doesn't want to buy better ones, it's just that he doesn't. If there is, he may not be able to afford it. In the blink of an eye, 8.78 million points have already been used up to 5 million. 403, Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. The points seem to be too much, but they are really useless, but they are still useless. He didn't even think about how others would buy things from the God King realm when they were in the real God realm. Like the Thunder Talisman, if it wasn't for Lin Moyu's 4th grade soul, even if it was given to him, it would be useless. For the God Thunder Talisman of the true God realm, a piece of thousands of points. Lin Moyu lamented that the price was a bit expensive, and left the trading center. Lin Moyu was walking on the road, and was once again pointed at by crowds, who made him now number 1 on the potential list. After listening to Zhuang Bai's words, Lin Moyu didn't care about these criticisms. He now knows that the bigger his reputation, the better. This will be beneficial for the next thing to do. Arriving at the teleportation array, Lin Moyu is ready to go to the battlefield. The battlefield is far away, more than 50,000 light-years away. Already far away from the Vermilion Bird star field, even using the large-scale teleportation array of the number 10 galaxy, it will take many transfers along the way to arrive. 50,000 light-years, and the fee is extremely expensive, a full 5,000 points. Before leaving, Lin Moyu suddenly received a message from Renwang Network. The person who sent the message was called Zhang Ziyu. Lin Moyu had seen this name before, and he ranked 2nd on the potential list. Before him, he should be number 1 on the potential list, but now he is pushed to the 2nd place. Zhang Ziyu sent a challenge letter, wanting to fight Lin Moyu to prove that he should be the first person on the potential list. This kind of thing happens from time to time in the potential list. Renwang Network is basically not wrong, but sometimes, potential does not represent real combat power. The real battle is also combined with actual experience, impending play, mental state, skill strength and so on. Especially in the battle of life and death, the influence of external factors will be even greater. It is not impossible for people who are ranked lower on the potential list to beat those who are ranked higher in the same realm. In this case, Renwang Network will also switch positions for the two very simply. Lin Moyu was not surprised to receive Zhang Ziyu's challenge letter. He had expected that Zhang Ziyu would challenge himself. Even the 3rd and 4th place people will challenge themselves. But Lin Moyu's answer is more straightforward, just 2 words, no time. After replying the message, Lin Moyu activated the teleportation array, and headed to the battlefield accompanied by brilliant light. This time it was a long teleportation. When teleporting, the starry sky was distorted and turned into gorgeous brilliance, and quickly fell behind. Lin Moyu seemed to have seen the changes in the starry sky, and in a blink of an eye, he had left countless light years and disappeared into the starry sky. The transmission of tens of thousands of light years requires several transfers. The speed of the large teleportation array is very fast, reaching 100 light years per second. But even then, Lin Moyu took more than 10 minutes of teleportation to arrive. In a starry sky, Zhang Ziyu has just completed a task. He received a reply from Lin Moyu. Just 2 words, but Zhang Zi jumped up. To reject him so flatly, Zhang Ziyu's eyes glowed coldly. Don't think that you can reject my challenge just like this. The number 1 on the potential list can only be mine. He rolled his eyes and immediately had an idea. In that case, I will force you to accept the challenge. If you don't accept it, even if you occupy the number 1 position on the potential list, don't even think about gaining the power of faith. Zhang Ziyu sent out several messages in succession, using his connections. He is not an ordinary person, but comes from a big family. Moreover, in the family, his status is not bad, and he usually has many friends. At his request, pieces of information were quickly spread to every corner of the Suzaku starfield. The main content of the information is basically Lin Moyu, who is number 1 on the potential list, and dare not accept Zhang Ziyu's challenge. Some people even said that Lin Moyu did not live up to his name and his actual combat power was not very good. Zhang Ziyu wanted to use this method to force Lin Moyu to agree to his challenge. Unfortunately, all his actions were useless. Lin Moyu is not in the Suzaku starfield at all, he has already entered the battlefield, into another world. The depressing breath came over his face. Lin Moyu saw an unusual starry sky. The starry sky here seems to be shrouded in a mass of color. The starry sky, which obviously shouldn't have any smell, seems to be filled with a smell of blood. Lin Moyu couldn't imagine what kind of killing would lead to such a result. He knew that this was an illusion, but what caused this illusion was the ubiquitous murderous aura and blood aura. Leave the teleportation array. A low shout came. A soldier in armor shouted to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu nodded and left immediately. The soldier didn't say a second word, his task was just to guard the teleportation array. Like Lin Moyu, many people who come here for the first time will be in a daze in the teleportation array. If they don't wake him up, they may be in a daze for half a day, affecting the operation of the teleportation position. Lin Moyu glanced over. There are hundreds of large teleportation arrays here, and the teleportation arrays light up from time to time, and someone comes here. This is the battlefield belonging to the Suzaku starfield, known as the Suzaku battlefield. The Suzaku battlefield is very vast. It is said to be bigger than the entire star field occupied by the human race. Lin Moyu didn't know how the battlefield was created, no one told him why. Even if he went to the soldiers here, he wouldn't know why. A soldier's bounden duty is to obey, knowing only what they need to do, not why they are doing it. The information Lin Moyu knows is extremely limited, only that many races will fight here all year round to compete for resources. In the vermilion bird battlefield, the resources are very rich, and the fighting situation is extremely fierce. This is different from the border of the human race, which is just a battle between 2 or 3 races. And in this 0.1, there can be thousands of races fighting in melee. This is just the battlefield where the Suzaku starfield is located. There are 3 other battlefields like this, which are respectively in charge of 3 other star fields. It is said that the star domain division of the human race is also related to the number of battlefields. After Lin Moyu learned about the battlefield, he became very interested in the battlefield. Why such an area was created, and how the battlefield was formed, were all secrets that he could not understand. Now that he is in it, he really feels the breath from the battlefield. Outside the teleportation array, there is a guiding beacon. A huge beam of light is connected to a starry sky fortress of the human race on the battlefield. Star Fortress number 1 is also everyone's first stop. Here, they can receive tasks, and then go to the corresponding area to perform tasks. Guided by the beam of light, Lin Moyu flew hundreds of millions of kilometers on the Zhangwang Tower, and finally saw the starry sky fortress. From a distance, the entire body of the star fortress is shining, like a huge star. It is indeed a star, a modified star. A huge military fortress was built on the star, and a large number of formations were arranged to transform the star into a terrible war weapon. Although the star is still shining, the heat emitted by it has become very small. Most of the heat is absorbed by the formations on the stars and supplied to the starry sky fortress. The human race transformed the star into a starry sky fortress, powered by the energy of the star itself. The stellar fire is burning blazingly, providing huge energy all the time. The entire starry sky fortress exudes an oppressive atmosphere, making it daunting. Lin Moyu believes that such a starry sky fortress can definitely compete with the gods. There were quite a few people traveling with Lin Moyu, and each of them sighed when they saw the star fortress. What a terrifying starry sky fortress. It is said that it can fight against gods. I don't know if it is true or not. It's not just a powerful enemy of the gods, it even has a record of beheading the gods. There are newcomers and old people in the company. Seeing the appearance of the new, some old people couldn't help smiling. The newcomers must be frightened. This is just one of the starry sky fortresses. In Suzaku battlefield, there are 1,000 starry sky fortresses like this. Everyone was shocked. There are actually 10 starry sky fortresses that are so powerful that they can rival the gods. This is only the vermilion bird battlefield, so there are other battlefields, and it is the same if you think about it. At this moment, Lin Moyu had a deeper understanding of the power of the human race. The strength of the human race is reflected in all aspects. Arranging 10 star fortresses to guard the battlefield has just established the power of the human race on the battlefield. But at the same time, it also made Lin Moyu aware of the danger on the battlefield. If this is not the case, the human race does not need to make such a large-scale arrangement. It is hard to imagine how much manpower and material resources are required to transform a star into a starry sky fortress. Suppressing the shock in his heart, Lin Moyu guided along the road signs and entered the starry sky fortress. There was a formation in motion outside the starry sky fortress, and after confirming that Lin Moyu's identity was correct, he was let in. When I first entered the Star Fortress, the first thing I saw was a huge map. Some facilities of Star Fortress are marked on the map, which places can be visited and which places cannot be visited. Among them, Lin Moyu saw some familiar places, such as Mission Center, Trading Center, and Practice Field. It's just that in front of each place, the word, Battlefield, must be crowned. Battlefield Mission Center, Battlefield Trading Center. Once the word battlefield is added, it seems that the meaning becomes different. The entire starry sky fortress exudes a menacing atmosphere. Walking inside, people shut their mouths. No one communicates loudly with the voice of the soul, and they also use sound transmission to speak to each other. The entire starry sky fortress seemed very quiet. In the Starry Sky Fortress, there are also some leisure areas for practitioners to rest and relax. There are delicious food and wine inside. As long as you have enough points, you can taste things that cannot be eaten in the human world. Although cultivators do not have high requirements for food, it doesn't even matter if they don't eat or drink. But many foods here come from foreign races, which are not only delicious, but also helpful for cultivation. Many cultivators could not resist the temptation and used a lot of points in it. Lin Moyu understands that in the depressive and exciting battlefield, the nerves are always in a state of tension, and naturally need to be properly relaxed. Lin Moyu went to the trading center first. The battlefield trading center is different from the trading center in the Terran galaxy. There is no area for individuals to set up stalls here, and everyone's things are recycled by the Terran government. Unless you have something, find someone to trade in private, or you can only sell it to the official. But here, most people will also choose personal transactions, because selling things to officials can not only earn points, but also gain military merit. Lin Moyu checked it out, and every time you sell items worth 10,000 points, you can get an extra point of military merit. It seems very little, but it is very difficult to obtain military merit. Lin Moyu once had such a dangerous mission, killing so many true gods of the demon clan, and only got 3,000 military merits before and after. It can be said that these 3,000 military merits were all exchanged for holding their heads. Military achievements are very useful. Not only can you improve your military rank, but also can be used to buy some special items. Lin Moyu checked in the trading center and found several items that cannot be bought in the Terran galaxy. One of them is called the Bead of Warning. You only need to wear the warning bead with you. If there is a foreign race approaching, the warning bead will send out an alarm and remind you. There are many alien races with strange abilities. They can sneak, stealth, and can carry out sneak attacks silently. With the warning beads, the safety performance is greatly improved. However, the warning beads are not 100% safe, and there are some very special aliens who can avoid the warning beads. Lin Moyu thought about it and bought one anyway. The price of each warning bead is only 10,000 points, which is not very expensive. Almost everyone who comes here will buy one. There are also some items suitable for the battlefield in the trading center, but for Lin Moyu, they are not very useful. Compared with the trading center, there are significantly more people in the task center. This is basically the same as the mission center of the human race, except that there is no mission room. There is no difference. On the battlefield, there are no missions in Renwang's network, so there is no need for facilities like mission rooms. Lin Moyu checked the mission. Collect the star fragments in the number 1 war zone. Collect the water and light flowers in the number 2 war zone. Collect the spirit Vulcan stone in war zone number 3. In the task center, Lin Moyu saw a large number of tasks, most of which are collection tasks. In the battlefield, resources are extremely rich, and all ethnic groups will collect a lot of resources here. The entire battlefield is divided into 10 theaters, and different theaters have different degrees of danger. The core and most dangerous part of 333 is the number 10 war zone, which belongs to the god-level battlefield. Then there are 3 war zones number 7, number 8, and no. 9, which belong to the battlefield of the God King realm. And distributed in the Suzaku battlefield, the outermost battle zones no. 1 to number 6 belong to the battlefield of the true gods. The lower the number, the more secure it is. Over the years, various ethnic groups have reached a tacit understanding. Those high-level powerhouses rarely go to low-level areas. The God King realm generally does not enter the real God realm area. Otherwise, the entire battlefield will be chaotic, and the godly realm can enter the true God realm to kill randomly. Once a foreign race broke this rule, and as a result, this foreign race was almost strangled by other races. But there is no such thing as 100% safe on the battlefield, and occasionally there will be high-level powerhouses entering low-level areas. Lin Moyu cooperated with the list on the Suzaku Star Field reward list, and chose a mission in the 5th Theater. Battlefield mission, collect the Stellar Fine Fire in the 5th Theater. In the number 5 war zone, there are a large number of Stellar Fine Fires, collect them and bring them back. Restrictions, none. Conditions for completion, bring back at least 10 Stellar Fine Fires, reward 5,000 points, and 10 military merits. Precautions, Stellar Fire itself has extremely strong damage, and it is not easy to collect. It is recommended to use the Spark Jade bottle for collection. There are alien races in the battlefield. When collecting, you need to pay attention to the movement of alien races. In the Starry Sky Fortress, there is no teleportation array that goes directly to each theater. The areas that the teleportation array can reach are all Starry Sky Fortresses. Every war zone has a Starry Sky Fortress. What Lin Moyu accepted was the task of No. 5 war zone, and he needed to go to No. 5 Starry Sky Fortress. Lin Moyu saw a map again. This map was about the Suzaku battlefield. 10 areas are marked out on the map, each of which is a war zone. Among them, theaters No. 1 to number 6 are located at the outermost periphery of the Suzaku battlefield. Like a huge circle, surrounding the entire battlefield. On the inner floor, there is also a circular area, which is the number 7 to number 9 war zones. And in the center of the battlefield is the number 10 battle zone belonging to the gods. In Lin Moyu's eyes, the area occupied by the number 10 war zone in the center of the battlefield is comparable to the sum of the other 9 war zones. Structures like this look a bit like galaxies. Lin Moyu looked at the map and talked to himself with a voice that only he could hear. All the theaters seem to revolve around the central number 10 theater. The 10th battle zone is the stars in the galaxy, and the other battle zones are the planets. If you look at it, it's more expensive than Shaoli. What Lin Moyu couldn't understand was where the resources in the theater came from. As we all know, the total amount of resources in a galaxy is limited, and it is not that resources cannot be regenerated, but the speed is very slow. This is common sense, and almost everyone knows it. But the situation in the battlefield is not like this. In the battlefield, resources seem to be endless. There are always new resources being born and appearing, which has also led to various races crazily competing for resources on the battlefield. Any race is extremely thirsty for resources. In addition to resources, there are various opportunities in the battlefield. When many people are unable to break through with their own strength, they will come here to seek opportunities. Lin Moyu entered the teleportation array and went to the 5th fortress. At this time Lin Moyu discovered another strange thing: he did not need to consume any points to go to fort number 5. But if he goes to other Starry Sky fortresses, it will consume points and the cost will be very high. Lin Moyu realized that this had something to do with the task he had accepted. After accepting the mission of No. 5 war zone, you can go to No. 5 star fortress for free. If you go to a Starry Sky fortress that does not have a corresponding task, you will be charged. In this way, others are prevented from using Zhuangzheng Ding at will. After all, the distance between the star fortresses is very long, and such a large interstellar teleportation array will consume a lot of energy. From Fort No. 1 to Fort number 5, he has to go through several transfers, spanning a full 30,000 light years. The Suzaku battlefield is far beyond Lin Moyu's imagination. Before, he only heard that the Suzaku battlefield was bigger than the entire Suzaku starfield, but now it seems that it is really the case. On the 10th fortress, a deity sat cross-legged. He is the owner of fortress number 10, and also the master of Suzaku battlefield, Zhuqiwu. Zhuqiwu faced the very center of the entire battlefield, the most core area. It was pitch black, and all light was gone. Even the light emitted by the Starry Sky fortress can't illuminate the darkness in the distance. Huge soul power radiated out, like a big net scattered in the dark and deep starry sky, as if absorbing the power from the dark depths. Suddenly, a light appeared in front of him, and this light came from the Starry Sky fortress under him. Zhu Tian's figure appeared in the light. "Big brother, tilde," Zhu Tianlang said loudly. Zhuqiwu didn't open his eyes, his voice came out softly. "Third brother, what's the matter?" Zhu Tian said, "The person I'm optimistic about has arrived at the Vermilion Bird battlefield, and I want to trouble senior brother to take care of him." Optimistic person. Zhuqiwu thought for a while, and then understood what was going on. "What's his name?" Zhuqiwu asked. Zhu Tian said, "Silence." Zhuqiwu still closed his eyes and said nothing. Zhu Tian was not in a hurry and waited quietly. A few seconds later, Zhuqiwu said slowly, "He has already gone to Fortress No. 5, which is the task area above the 6th level of the True God Realm. He only has the 1st level of True God Realm. It seems that he has the ability to leapfrog challenges. How is his real combat power?" Zhu Tian said, "He once killed the 1st rank of God King." Zhuqiwu's eyelids twitched a few times, but his eyes still did not open. "Understood, I will let people watch." Zhu Tian bowed slightly to Zhuqiwu. "Old Wang thanked senior brother." You and my senior brother, you don't have to be polite. Zhu spoke crisply and straightforwardly. Zhu Qian smiled slightly. I don't know when senior brother can break through. Zhu Qiwu replied, it should be soon, how about you? Zhu Qian shook his head, being entangled in trivial matters, I'm afraid it will be difficult. Zhu Qiwu whispered, dealing with trivial matters is also a kind of practice. Stick to your heart and not be disturbed by external things. Have you forgotten what the master taught? Zhu Qian smiled wryly, how dare I forget, this is so difficult, you don't know how troublesome it is to manage a star field. Trouble is also a kind of practice. I know, but, well, I'll try my best, if it doesn't work, I can only go another way. Zhu Qian's projection disappeared, and he was far away. Zhu Qiwu sighed softly, everything in the world is difficult, and suffering is not enough to strengthen one's heart, but there is no easy thing to say. After finishing speaking, he closed his eyes again. A black shadow flew out from him, it was his clone. The avatar disappeared into the starry sky and disappeared. Immediately afterwards, a teleportation array in the starry sky fortress lit up. Lin Moyu came to know. 5-star fortress, which seems to be no different from no 1-star fortress. The structure of the whole fort is exactly the same as that of fort number 1. The only difference is that there is no mission center or trading center here. Moreover, the existence of Renwang network can no longer be sensed here. After completing the task, you must return to the number 1 fortress to complete the task. The area where he can move is very small, and most of the areas here belong to the military and are not open to outsiders. Lin Moyu didn't stay in the fort much, and opened the teleportation array again. Star Fortress number 5 deals with War Zone number 5, but War Zone number 5 is very large and subdivided into thousands of small areas, which can be distinguished by numbers. The human race has become accustomed to using numbers, which makes it clear at a glance. The mission he, Mahao Zhao, chose is located in the 5 to 38 area. Among them, 5 represents the 5th theater, and 5 to 38 is the 38th area in the 5th theater. In this area, the Terrans have established a small outpost, managed by people from the military. As soon as Lin Moyu left the teleportation array, he felt a different breath. It was the breath of the army, reminding him of those soldiers in the small world, and it also had a similar breath. This small base was built on the fragments of a planet, covering an area of no more than 100 miles. An army is deployed here to form an army formation. Every soldier has a combat power above the 7th rank of a true god. After forming an army formation, it is enough to fight against the King of Gods. Here, they will not take the initiative to attack, as long as the foreign race does not come to provoke them, they will not take the initiative to attack. It seems to be an unspoken rule, and other races do the same. He gave a military salute to the soldiers before leaving the base and actually entering Area 38. There are still many differences between the starry sky of the battlefield and the starry sky of the human race. There is also starlight here, but the starlight is dim, not as bright as in the human starry sky. But behind the dim starlight, there is an extremely rich lore of starlight. Practitioners who master the lore of starlight can increase their combat power by at least 30% on the battlefield. The lore of starlight was originally only a relatively weak one among the laws of the second echelon. But after the power increased by 30%, it reached the average level of the second echelon's various laws. In addition, it has the advantages of less consumption and strong ability to continue fighting. Make it shine on the battlefield. The starlight here is not strong, but the lore of starlight is extremely strong. The reason is that there are a lot of dark stars in the battlefield. These stars, which absorb light and cannot be seen with the naked eye, fly around the battlefield, which is very dangerous. There are many cultivators who are connected by the dark star, and the powerful dark star is enough to smash the practitioners in the true god realm to pieces. Only some races with strong physical bodies are likely to survive. Lin Moyu thought about various materials on the battlefield in his mind, and reviewed the precautions. The power of the soul spread out, forming a surveillance network. In the dark battlefield, the power of the soul is more useful than the eyes. After flying a certain distance, Lin Moyu released hundreds of skeletons and let them fly towards it in all directions. There are a few flying in front of him, acting as his eyes. The skeletons have their own unique vision of the undead. The dark stars that are invisible to the naked eye are clearly visible to the skeletons. Lin Moyu flew towards the task site at a very fast speed. The reason for choosing this task is not purely for the task of collecting stellar fine fire. Another point is that on the reward list of the Suzaku starfield, there is a guy named Luo Fei who often moves in this area and kills many human cultivators. Luo Fei belonged to the Flying Wing clan, ranked 88th on the reward list, with the cultivation base of the 6th level of the True God. Possessing the ability to leapfrog and fight, according to the information on the reward list, his actual combat power has reached the 8th level of the True God. Kill him, you can get 2,000 points, and 200 military merit rewards. Points are second, and military merit is the key. 200 military merits is not a small number. If it is exchanged for the amount of the trading center, a transaction amount of 2 million points is required to obtain 200 military merits. While doing the task, try to see if you can meet Luo Fei. Lin Moyu will not search deliberately, everything will follow the fate. In this way, it is equivalent to doing two tasks together, and the efficiency can be doubled if you are lucky. After flying hundreds of thousands, ACDG, kilometers, the skeleton in front suddenly saw a different picture. A star, as if rushing out from under the water, suddenly appeared in the field of vision. The skeleton immediately sent back a message to Lin Moyu, and Lin Moyu saw this dark star with a diameter of about 100 kilometers. A dark star with a diameter of only 100 kilometers is small among many dark stars. But the smaller the dark star, the faster the speed. This small dark star suddenly appeared, and it was already close at hand as soon as it appeared, and then hit the skeleton at an alarming speed. The skeleton warrior didn't have time to dodge and was hit straight. The skeleton god warrior was smashed to pieces, and the shattered bones were absorbed by a powerful force. With a move in Lin Moyu's heart, these bones disappeared instantly. In the magic star, a new skeleton god warrior appeared. Lin Moyu discovered from the information sent back by the skeleton warrior that there is a huge suction force on the dark star. Once locked, the speed will be greatly reduced, making it difficult to dodge. The key point is that this dark star appeared too strangely, it appeared completely suddenly. Before, there was no dark star directly in front of the skeleton. Could it be that dark stars can teleport? Lin Moyu thought in his heart, extremely puzzled. Moreover, the impact force of the dark star made him speechless. Even with the defense power of the skeleton god warrior, he could not be spared. It shows that the impact force of the dark star has at least reached the peak of the true god realm, or even the god king realm. If it hits me, I won't feel well either. If it was another cultivator, I am afraid that he would die directly. He had to be careful and slowed down. In the next period of time, no dark stars appeared suddenly again. Because the speed is slowed down, the reaction time left for oneself is correspondingly longer. The skeletons can see the dark star from a distance, and then avoid it from a distance. Here, Lin Moyu didn't use the Battle King Tower, and he didn't know if there was a stronger dark star, and whether it would crash together with the Battle King Tower. Half a day later, Lin Moyu had already left the base thousands of kilometers away. The vastness of the 5 to 38 area exceeds Lin Moyu's prediction, and it is much larger than ordinary galaxies. Even after flying tens of millions of kilometers, it is still only on the edge. According to Lin Moyu's estimate, at least another 20 to 30 million kilometers will be needed to reach the mission area. The starry sky is getting darker and darker, and the number of dark stars is gradually increasing. Along the way, Lin Moyu didn't meet a single creature. That is, there are no human races and no alien races. It should be said that the battlefield is too vast. No matter how many people enter it and disperse, it will be difficult to meet again. In a blink of an eye, it has been flying for a whole day, at least 20 million kilometers. Along the way, he encountered more than a dozen dark stars, forcing Lin Moyu to change direction. Finally, a little starlight appeared in the line of sight, breaking the dark sky and bringing a glimmer of light. His eyes narrowed slightly, and the starlight quickly released into the sky in his sight. It wasn't starlight at all, but a raging flame. Delphine fire. Delphine fire. The corpse left behind after the death of a star can be used to comprehend the law of fire. When Lin Moyu first came to the big world, he had seen the death of stars. But the stellar fine fire in front of him seemed to be different. The stellar fire left behind after the death of a star has no vitality, only silence, and even some resentment. But the stellar fire in front of him exudes a strong vitality. This kind of stellar fire full of vitality can be used to repair stars, and can also be used to enhance the power of stars, and even, can evolve into new stars. For humans, stars are the foundation of living galaxies. Not just humans, but many races. It is of great significance to the race to collect stellar fire, evolve into stars, and form new life galaxies. Lin Moyu flew towards the star fire, and the spark jade bottle appeared in his hand. This is what he bought at the trading center after accepting the mission. The price is not expensive, just like warning beads, you can buy one with 10,000 points. After using it, it can be sold back to the trading center, which is also 10,000 points, and will not lose money. Lin Moyu came in front of Xingxing Jinguo and felt the power of Xingxing Jinguo. A fireball with a diameter of more than 100 meters is burning blazingly. With a slight movement of soul power, the spark jade bottle was activated. A suction force was born from the spark jade bottle, which caged the stars and extinguished them. The stellar essence fire began to deform, turning into a brilliant fire snake, flying towards the star fire jade bottle. Collecting stellar fine fire, you can't be distracted, you need to concentrate on it. The entire collection process takes about 10 minutes. Just as Lin Moyu was collecting stellar fire, the warning beads suddenly lit up. The warning range of the warning bead is 10,000 kilometers, which means that there are aliens appearing within the range of 10,000 kilometers. 10,000 kilometers is only a few seconds for a cultivator of the true God realm. Even for practitioners who master the laws of speed, it will be shorter. A group of black shadows appeared behind Lin Moyu, and a cold light suddenly appeared.